We are experiencing one of the worst bouts of summer, and yet again I have been dragged into a pointless comparison. Not too long ago, I was bickering with Karan that the Rumion is a much better vehicle than the C3 Aircross because that is a makeshift 5 plus 2 SUV. And today we have something similar because I have brought the Toyota Innova Hycross, while Shivank has got
The Skoda Kodiaq. Now, unless and until you are a cab operator or you run a fleet, why do you want to ferry 7 people all the time? Why not buy something that is an SUV, that drives really well, that is also comfortable, more luxurious? It is a proper SUV, and on top of that, it is a Skoda. It's a premium brand. So, why do you want to be associated with Toyota?
talking about whys. Isn't Skoda bringing a new version of the Kodiaq pretty soon? So why would you bring an outdated car?
Well, that's a really bad argument because the iPhone 16 is coming out later this year, but that won't stop people from buying the iPhone 15.
Should we stop you from buying that or this? Well, the answer can only be found out once we dive deep into the pros and cons of each vehicle. So come on, let's do that. Oh, but before we start the comparison, Shivank, did you know that a lot of our viewers have not actually subscribed to our channel?
Wow, really?
Yeah, so please be a darling, go and hit the subscribe button and then continue watching this video.
So Akash, tell me something. How does it feel to be driving a van? Because must be a good feeling, no?
First of all, this is not a van. Unlike
It
the
looks
Innova-
like a van.
No, unlike the Innova Krista, which definitely looks like an MPV, I will give you that. This one looks like a proper SUV. You can see it's got a very boxy and upright design. It's even got big wheels to match with it and a big bold grille.
Still a van.
No, it's not. It's an SUV. It's
I mean-
got all the right proportions.
Okay.
Yours looks like a compact SUV right in front of this.
Compact SUV. It
Yeah.
looks like a proper big SUV. It looks premium, dude. Like, look at the size.
Yeah.
Again, this is too big and bulky, too boxy, but this has the proportions like absolutely. It has nailed the SUV brief. If you have 40 lakh rupees to spend on an SUV or a 7-seater, as you say, I think this is the car to buy because it doesn't look long or it doesn't look disproportionate from any angles. So in terms of premium appeal, again, the Skoda definitely takes the cake.
Oh, definitely. Because from where I'm looking at it, the side angle, it definitely looks more like a station wagon. A boring old station wagon, I might add.
No, that's not the case. You have something in your eyes. And how can you say, if it was if you are coming from a Fortuner, I'd give it to you. You're coming from a van, dude.
No, this is, it's the same brand which makes the Fortuner. So I have some amount of bragging rights.
Okay, so cool. So let's just settle it. If you were to pick a 7-seater based on its outer appearance, which one would you pick? Okay, so the guy is lying because this is the car to pick. It looks absolutely beautiful. And I think in the looks department, the Skoda definitely takes the first win.
No, let me tell you. You be the judge of what looks better because I think you will make a much better decision whether you like this or this. Let us know in the comments. Till then, we'll just drive the car and see what's on the inside. Okay, so first up, Shivank is driving the Innova Hycross. So what do you think of the car?
Well, first things first, okay, it's nice and quiet because it just gets off in the EV mode. Very nice. But I think this plastic and everything, it feels very cheap. It's very plasticky. There are so many hard plastics, scratchy plastics. They've tried to give it this nice treatment with, this leather. I don't know if it's original
It's
leather.
a soft touch material.
Yeah,
let's
whatever
just
it
say
is. It looks nice. The design is nice, but the quality is not great. For a 30 lakh rupee car, it feels very. I don't even think it's as good as the Krista, to be very frank. And lots of buttons. Okay, I get it. It's like quite practical.
Yes.
But my first impressions are like it's not. It doesn't feel as premium, especially the quality.
But then you have a lot of good features here. Like, for example, I can see a USB Type A and a Type C port. A lot of cars. And I
Who
suspect-
uses Type A now?
I do. A lot of people do.
Yeah, it's for old people, of course. Go ahead.
But apart from that, you are still getting features like a 360-degree camera. You are getting
Quality is really bad of the 360-degree camera.
I mean,
Functionality good, but quality.
and
meh.
you have a 10-inch touchscreen, a floating unit right here, which is also pretty decent in my opinion.
Yeah, but the UI is all very Toyota, very old.
Yeah, I know it's basic, but once you connect your phone, it gets better. I will agree that it does not come with wireless Android Auto. It only gets wireless
Really?
Apple CarPlay. That I will
Wow.
admit. But I would still say that the functionality of this unit is pretty good. And what is better, I'm pretty sure, is the sound system, because this gets a 9-speaker JBL sound system. I know your car has 12.
You wait till you get in the Kodiaq.
But I'm pretty sure this sounds much better.
Okay, alright, it doesn't, but okay. And the other thing, can you notice the kind of rattles it's making? We'll come to the engine performance and everything else later. Now you're on a bad patch of road and it's just too rattly. It's like so, and it's not like a very strong, like in the old Innova, it had that ladder frame chassis, so
I guess
it used
the
to
Maruti
feel.
partnership is showing a little bit.
No, this is like a monocoque and it feels very flimsy, to be very frank. Like on bad roads, like see, there's another bump. It's very rattly, and this car has only done around 31,000 kilometers. So I think that solid Toyota feel is not there, even though it's not uncomfortable. I'll give it to you. The suspension is quite pliant. It's quite soft actually, and low speed ride is phenomenal. But the sense of comfort, especially the noise coming into the cabin, I think it's a little too loud.
Yeah, I agree with that point, but at least you have a lot of space.
We'll talk about space in great detail later. But the one thing that I noticed is, of course, the refinement of the engine, and it's also got decent poke because it's doing that EV and
EV boost.
hybrid thing really well. So when it sets off, it's in EV mode. It is quite snappy because it's good, but it's also very noisy because of the CVT or eCVT, whatever it gets. So the performance is there. Again, coming to the comfort factor, if you're pulling a quick overtake, it's a little noisy.
However, if you consider how big this vehicle is and how well it drives compared to that, there is not a lot of body roll for a vehicle of this size, and the steering feel, I would argue, is pretty sorted.
I think it's pretty nice in the sense it feels more car-like. That's
Yes.
the advantage, because it's now on a monocoque frame. So it definitely feels more car-like, and even we are driving in hilly roads, sort of. So the steering feels nice. There's decent sort of feedback. Body control is quite tight. It feels quite low also, right? It doesn't throw you around. It's not wallowy. And the turning radius is also quite short, I think. It feels more car-like. You're right. I mean, that's what I noted, because
You even have paddle shifters.
yeah, I even have paddle shifters, and it's nice. It's also quite responsive. So overall, I think, in terms of driving it, it definitely feels more car-like, and I think that's the advantage that it has over the old Innova, at least.
Yes.
I'm not sure about the Kodiaq. We'll jump into the Kodiaq soon. But in terms of driving, more car-like, and the engine has decent poke. It is very refined. It picks up linearly. It's not like a kick in your seat sort of acceleration, right?
Yes.
It's good. But
It's brisk.
It's brisk and noisy though. I really don't like the noise part, because the sound deadening inside it's not that great. For a 30 lakh rupee car,
Yes.
you need that. Listen.
Yeah,
And it's not a nice sporty sound. It's like
I agree. But you get ventilated front seats.
it's features wise, again, a lot of great features, of course. Very decent car, but it doesn't kind of excite you. I mean, it's a very practical car, and I know it's a family mover or whatever. It doesn't have to be exciting. But if you're going to be doing the driving, if you don't have a driver or a chauffeur, I think this is not that great. Okay, Aakash, now you're in the Kodiaq, the much nicer car. How do you feel about it?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's the much nicer car, because first of all, you were kind of complaining about the fit and finish and the materials used in my car. But what about this? What is all this piano black finish? Are we back in like the 2010s?
It's all classy, man. Come on.
No, all it does is accumulate dust and creates a hassle for whoever is cleaning, which will probably be you. So I don't think it's necessarily that good, and it's so black. I mean, yes, there is some beige down here, but this looks like
This is called classy, dude. Come
No,
on. Like, it's not
absolutely.
all black cab interior.
And also the controls on this, like these dials, I absolutely hate how you operate them. Like, I agree, this is a nice two-spoke steering wheel, much fancier
It's
than.
an acquired taste, so you get used to it.
Now you're just defending your car for no reason, man. I'm telling you, this is not the better cabin at all. And also, once you're seated here, I have noticed that you sit much lower compared to the Innova. So it doesn't really give you that commanding position which SUVs are supposed to have. What about that?
Well, it's okay. It's like a crossover, right? It's a premium crossover. So it is a modern day SUV in the sense it has got the SUV bits. Like, it has got 4x4. Does your Innova have it?
No,
it's
but
a front
this one
wheel
costs
drive.
about 9 lakh rupees more. So
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the sort of it's all about engineering. It's all about the platform. And have you noticed we were on the same stretch of road?
yes.
This is so well damped. Like, there is no noise filtering into the cabin. Same road. The
Yes.
Innova was all rattly.
Yes, and I will agree that this is also much nicer to drive in a lot of ways because the engine is so smooth. This TSI engine,
Yeah.
and
And the
when you
performance
rev
also.
it, it's
See,
not loud. The sound that is coming is also not harsh.
it's
or
just
bad.
the sporty sound of like pure TSI magic. That's what it is.
Yes.
This engine is so nice. It loves to be revved and has got so much power. It's like a traditional, like, it's an old school engine in that sense, in the sense it has a turbocharger, but the way it revs, it's so nice. And it's so smooth and creamy.
Yep, but it all comes at the cost of terrible fuel efficiency because viewers, Shivank was telling me that he went on a long trip to Dehradun, right?
Yeah.
In this very car. Can you tell our viewers what kind of efficiency figures you got?
So yeah, I mean, it
Go
is not
on.
that great, but yeah, around 6.5 to 7.
Wow, 6.5 to 7. And for reference, the hybrid Innova Hycross, that has a claimed figure of about 23 something, but you can easily get between 14 to 18 when you're driving it out in the city or on the highway. Even if you thrash it hard, it's not going to go below 12. So even at its worst, it is double of what this car is giving.
That was very surprising because when I went to Dehradun, it was mostly highway driving. But still, like, when I came back, when I did all the calculations, it was still like it's a very thirsty engine, no doubt.
Yep. So definitely, if you want to not burn a big hole in your pocket, the Innova Hycross is going to be much better. And also, there is one more problem in this vehicle, and that is the 7-speed DSG, which I know is an enthusiast gearbox, but in this car, at lower speeds, it's very jerky. It's not as smooth and as refined as you would like it to be. It's just like it, boom, boom, it goes like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd give it to you. Like, I also hated driving it in bumper to bumper traffic because that's when the gearbox is sort of confused and it tends to be jerky. It doesn't know like which gear to stick to. If you put it in manual mode also, then again, it doesn't give you the gear you want. It's always stuck in first gear. And yeah, it does get a little annoying. It's not as linear as the Hycross.
And there is one more thing which I did not like as much. This has very capable brakes. They bring you to a halt very nicely, but they are too grabby. Like a gentle feathering of the brake and you get this head shake, head nod that the car just stops.
Yeah, I mean, okay, but see, overall, this is anyway. Whatever you say, these are like small niggles. I know
Small.
you want, yeah, I know you want to highlight these as if these are deal breakers. But overall, this is a driver's car, driver's SUV in that sense. It feels so
Agreed.
nice.
Agreed.
Even when you're driving it around these bends, the steering, everything is very nice. I give it to you. It is a little light. It doesn't have the sort of not feedback. Even Innova is like a little vague. But this also doesn't feel
So,
very
like,
yeah.
in the center, it feels like a little too vague, like especially when you're dead
Yeah,
center.
yeah. But again, it's the chassis in the way it takes corners. It feels more.
True.
There is less roll, you'd say.
Kind of, yes.
No, there is less roll in the sense. It's more driver focused. Plus, it also has that. Yeah. Again, now this is the party piece of this car. So it has got a lot of features. Like I said, it has
Okay.
got 3-zone air conditioning. a lot more features. You're telling me about the ventilated seats, right?
Yes.
It has got ventilated and heated seats, right? So this feels more luxurious. All that 9 lakh extra you pay, you definitely get a lot more features. The other thing is it also gets DCC, which is basically your adjustable damper. So you can change the damping on this car. This is the LNK variant, top end variant. So you can do that. Overall, what I'm trying to say is forget Innova. Forget about the Innova, right? If
You would like to.
Yeah, forget about the Innova. This is more like a, I'd say it's better than most of the entry level luxury SUVs, like let's say the Audi Q3. It's based on the same sort of platform, right? It's a platform sharing thing. But in terms of features, in terms of how it makes you feel, apart from the badge, I think this car offers you a lot more equipment. It's comparable to an Audi Q5, I'd say, in terms of space, in terms of comfort. So it's just, if you look at it from that angle, if you don't look at it from the Innova, which is a people mover, but whatever. But if you look at it from that angle, that you're coming down from an Audi, you're saving around 20 lakh rupees on this car, and you get same sort of driving comfort, same engine, right, same performance, same ride quality, probably better, and interior quality is also brilliant. It's just the badge is missing. So in that regard, this is a steal.
But a lot of people value that badge and would happily pay extra to get that brag.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to tell you is, if you're going for a Innova, as a 7-seater or whatever, as a family mover, you can go with this. This is a much nicer car, more premium, and also you have to understand this bit. A lot of people think 8-seater, 7-seater, people mover, third row, you need 80% of the time, I'm sure you're not taking your family along everywhere you go.
True.
Right? It's just on some rare few occasions where all of your family is traveling. And also, the other thing is, it's not that everyone in your family is of the same size. You'll have kids or pet or something, so the third row can be used in that regard. Of course, I give it to you, as a more spacious third row. But if you're traveling with everyone in the family, you'll also need boot space.
Correct.
Right. So both these cars, I think this has 270 liters. That is 300 liters. So I'm telling you this because I took this car on a road trip to Dehradun, right? And I went out with my family, and we had kids also. And then I realized, of course, we are 6 people. And then I realized, okay, 6 people are there. I wanted to utilize the third row as well. But ultimately, I ended up folding it because you needed space for luggage.
Yeah.
So that's the whole point.
Harsh reality.
Yeah, harsh reality is that. And I think the Innova is no better than this in that regard. So why not have fun when you're going on a long road trip and you know that third row, it's usable, but it's only 20% of the time that you'll figure out the difference between, let's say, Kodiaq and the Innova.
But you will definitely figure out the difference in price.
I mean, yeah, that's there. I think a lot of people are swayed by the headline figures, like let's say in the Innova, and they think this is a 5+2. That's what Skoda also says. This is a 5+2. It's not a 7-seater as such. But yeah, I think those 2 seats, occasionally you can use them, but all the other time you can have the fun of an Audi, like a cut price Audi, I'd say, but it's as good.
Okay, but you know what? Let's jump into the rows behind so that I can show you why the Innova is better.
Okay, before we get into the second row, I want to show you a cool trick.
Okay.
Watch.
Oh, what is that?
Something you don't find in a cab. Okay, so now we are in the second row of the Kodiaq, and Aakash, how does it feel to be in a luxury car?
Okay, you keep on yapping about this luxury, but do you know how you recline the second row seats? There are no sophisticated buttons or even a lever. What you get is this latch. That is how you change the recline. So
it's called weight savings.
yeah, but there is no luxury in this now. So,
no, I mean, yeah. But in terms of overall space, in terms of how you're sat here, I think it's very nice. It
decent.
Yeah, there's a lot of space. Plus, you also get 3-zone air conditioning, like I said. You also get air conditioning at the back, like the controls. Okay. But yeah, the other thing that I forgot when we were talking about the features and creature comforts is that you're talking about the speakers, right?
Yes.
There are JBL speakers. This has high-end Canton speakers, 12 speakers, and this is like a live orchestra. You know, this is so good. Everything is so perfect in that music system. So overall, when you sat here, when you're going on a long drive, you've also got these blinds. So absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, even the Innova gets these blinds, so that is nothing.
You know what Innova doesn't get? What? It doesn't have this middle seat. The top end variant is only available as a 7-seater, but this technically has the seat room for a middle, and it's decent seat. The floor is okay, not
It's
flat.
very high.
Yeah, it's not flat, but a kid can sit here comfortably, like around 13,
And
15
you could
years
jump a motocross bike across this hump and it would get good airtime. It's that short.
See the ride quality again. We went over a bump at a very high speed, but still it's so nice.
Pretty
It's
decent.
very flat and very nice.
I do think that the underthigh support is a little bit lacking. It's not bad. It's just maybe a little bit. Could have been for taller people at least. For the shorter people, it will definitely suffice. And yes, you get an armrest with these two. I won't call them bottle holders because these are like too narrow to hold like proper bottles. These are maybe
lot of
small
headroom
cups.
also. Lot of headroom
Yes,
and
good headroom. And what I like in this is that it gets this extra extensions which you
I
can
didn't
just
notice it, but it's nice.
rest your head upon. So this is something I've really liked in the Kodiaq, that it has this nice,
It's
neat.
called attention detail.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, credit where it's due. It's that, and looks nice. The seat back also looks nice. You have pockets, and overall, like it's nice. But here you have all this hard plastic, which,
Yeah, we'll sit in your Innova and then you complain about it.
and then you also have the return of these piano black surfaces, which again will get dirty. They are getting dirty over here as well. So yeah, space wise, again, I have good knee room. Me being the taller of the two can definitely vouch for that this has good amount of space. So if you're sitting in the second row, definitely this is going to be quite a comfortable, quite a decent place to be in. But again, you're sitting quite low, so it doesn't give that SUV kind of commanding position.
You don't need it.
Okay, so now Shivank, you're in the much better vehicle, and the first thing that you'll probably notice is that there is so much more space.
Nah, the first thing I noticed is that it's so rattly at the back. Look,
Fine.
so noisy. At front, it was quite bad, but here it's like worse. We are going over these are not even big potholes. These are just road undulations, right?
Yes.
And it's very noisy. And I can tell you, it's not a luxurious. It's not even a premium feeling.
Okay, yes, it's not a premium feeling, but like I said, it's a spacious feeling. In the Kodiaq, comparatively, you feel claustrophobic if you're sitting in the second row seats because it feels as if everything is closed off. This, now, yes, you said that you do not get a whole bench in the top end model, but at least the two seats that you get, the Ottoman seats, they mean that there is much more space. The floor is completely flat, and you also get extra support for your legs if you want to recline the seat and just relax. That way, this trumps over the Kodiaq, no doubt.
I mean, yeah, in terms of absolute space, this is the king because, yeah, there's a lot of space. The floor is flat. The seats are quite nice. These are captain seats, so very nice. But quality is not that great. All plastics are very shiny. Even this tray here, it has got cup holders and all, but
Agreed.
look at how shiny it is. It's all hard plastics. Look, the noise. It is unbelievable how noisy this car is. It's not a comforting feeling at all. A lot of space, AC vents, yes. The front seat is quite in front. There is a lot of distance between me and the guy in front. And I can stretch here. I can lounge around like very comfortably. Yes, in that regard, very good. It also has electrically adjustable recliner, right?
Yes.
And you can also slide the seats. Not very luxury-like feeling, but you can slide it
Still better than
back and forth. But yeah,
a normal latch. The surfaces here, like where you put your arm, the armrest, it has this soft material. Even up here, it's not that piano black finish, which, like I said, will get dirty. And the AC vents are up top, which I feel is much better because the AC vents in the Kodiaq are down on the center console, which just end up cooling your knees more than the rest of your body. This at least you can get on your face and you can distribute.
yeah, you'll get a cold because it's blowing.
I mean, you can direct it away, but it's much better in this position,
Yeah,
I feel.
agreed.
And one more thing, for all the luxury and all the modern things that you were talking about in the Kodiaq, In the second row, that just gets a 12-volt socket, while this one comes with two USB Type-C charging ports. So now, Shivank, you tell me which one is the more practical.
I mean, yeah, practical. I told you, practicality wise, space wise, yes, the Innova definitely trumps the Kodiaq. But I think in terms of riding comfort, I still think the Kodiaq has it. And yeah, this is like a big box.
And now we are in the third row of the Kodiaq, and it definitely feels like a 5+2 because I am 6 feet tall, and definitely we had to push the seats further up, the second row seats. Yes, there is still space for someone maybe of 5 feet height to still sit comfortably, but we definitely had to push it a little further up for our knees to be accommodated, and that in the most loose sense, I mean accommodation. So under thigh support, there is none. So
Yeah.
Shivank, I mean, any saving graces that you can see?
No, I think this seat is best for your pet or your kids.
Yes.
Kids as in under 10, I'd say. It's not comfortable, but it's not, I mean, in terms of
For short maybe distances, if you really were
really
like,
want- yeah, that's what I said. Like
out
for
of
20% of the time, you can use the seat,
Yes.
especially the third row.
but
And
you have no USB charging ports.
yeah, you don't. If your travel time is just 20 minutes, so
Yeah. And you
don't
have
need
these
use-
small cubby hole. I mean, I have on my side.
The
which-
only thing I probably miss is there are no AC vents here. So
Yes.
even for your pet, it'll get hot
Very
in
stuffy.
no time. Yeah.
Yes. But you know, one thing which I appreciate about this third row is that the head restraints, they come all the way up, so even a tall person like me can actually put their head on it. Yes, there is no headroom, but in a lot of cars, the head restraints, they don't come all the way up, and what that
Yeah.
does is that it hits your back. It becomes very uncomfortable.
Yeah, and
because
at least your back is straight.
yes,
No,
so
even I think you're 6, I'm like 5'8", so still my back is straight. I'm sit, my knees are pointing up, but
back is straight.
back is straight. It's like a good yoga position.
By the smile of your face, I can tell that you have realized that this has so much more space than the Kodiaq. So, what do you have to say?
Yeah, this is like a proper third row for sure because we didn't do any adjustments in the second row,
Yeah.
and still we have decent space here.
Yeah.
Right, we can just about squeeze in.
Yeah, this you can go on slightly longer journeys, even if you have like
Yeah,
full-size
it's
people.
definitely more usable.
And what makes it better is that you have AC vents for the third row as well. In the Kodiaq, you did not. And you also get two cup holders on each side. So there is some amount of practicality built into this third row of the Innova Hycross.
But yeah, it's kind of reclined in a very weird angle.
I like that it has more range because I will admit that the headroom here is a little less, especially for me.
Yeah.
So the recline kind of helps with
True.
that I can sort of go back and not worry about banging my head against the roof. So that is good. And even the under thigh support is so much, it's not as good as the front rows, but at least it's so much better than the Kodiaq. And this is, I feel this is an actually usable 3-row vehicle if you do not have a lot of luggage. If you have luggage, then obviously the boot space won't be big enough for 6-7 people, right?
And the unsurprising bit here is that it's even more rattly here because so it kind of increases from front row to second row and third row.
Gradually gets
It's like
worse.
it's a nightmare. In the sense, it's very, very noisy. So the decibel levels, they increase
They
with, as soon as you progress to the rear
Yeah.
most rows. Well, it kind of progresses. So,
But at least the ride quality is not like terrible.
yeah, but the ride quality of the Kodiaq is also not terrible. This is, I mean, it's more or less the same. But I think in this car, because it's long also, and again, we are in a hilly road.
Twisty section.
So, yeah, you'll feel sick here.
yes, on longer
Right,
journeys,
on
probably.
longer journeys.
Yes.
So, yes, the seats are usable 40% of the time as compared to 20% in the Kodiaq, but 20% of the time you'll be sick here. So, that's it kind of evens out, right?
Even balances it out.
So it was a hot day. We had a lot of heated arguments. And at the end of the day, we have a clear answer.
That the perfect vehicle is the Innova Hycross.
Exactly. If you want to be a cab driver, like I again want to stick to that point. Okay, to be very frank and very serious, the Innova is a very nice vehicle. I mean, if you want a family SUV or MPV, I think the Innova makes more sense because it's spacious everywhere, front row, second row, third row. It is like that. But I still think it's not the most comfortable.
Yeah, that is where I think the Kodiaq comes in. It's more comfortable. It drives much better. It has a much better engine. Yes, cuts down on the fuel efficiency figure a lot.
Yeah, so the Innova for me, I think if see a lot of people who have big families, they don't like to drive themselves, right? So if you have a driver or a chauffeur, I think the Innova makes more sense. Even if you care about the second row space, even if you're not going to use the third row, I think the Innova is still a better bet in the sense it is more spacious and it feels more special also because it has like a lot of kit. Yeah. The Kodiaq is for someone who is going to drive themselves, who wants to be behind the wheel most of the time. I think in that regard, the Kodiaq is the car because if you're someone who loves driving, I think the Kodiaq definitely makes more sense. And it's the vehicle that kind of you buy it from your heart rather than your head, right? So if you're thinking from your head, the Innova, of course, your family, everything comes first. The Innova is the obvious choice. But I think the Kodiaq is something that your family will be happy with it as well because it has space, it does everything. And like I said, if you're not ferrying 7 people all the time, the Kodiaq with its makeshift 5+2, it is probably a better bet in that regard because a lot of people, like I said in the video also when we were driving, a lot of people don't counter in that fact that they're not going to use all the space all the time.
Correct. That way, yeah, the Kodiaq definitely makes a lot of sense. And definitely, even though I like the Innova Hycross, I loved driving that vehicle and it looks pretty good also. It looks pretty upmarket and even on the interior, it's very nicely built.
So yeah, overall, again, as someone who loves driving, I think we both prefer the Kodiaq. But overall, objectively, I think as a people mover, the Toyota is still the king.
And it's much more pocket friendly as well.
Yeah.
So what did you think of this comparison? Which one of these vehicles you like more? Let us know in the comments below. Like this video if you liked our presentation, if you liked the content that you saw, and subscribe for more high quality content right here at AutoX. We both will see you again next time. Bye bye.